Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a really powerful book, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning.
A classic, and for very good reason.
Absolutely. It's this incredible blend, isn't it? Part memoir, part psychology, part philosophy, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it all centers on this core idea that life somehow always holds meaning, even in the absolute worst suffering.
Which Frankl certainly knew firsthand.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack the big insights from his unbelievable experiences and his therapy approach, logotherapy.
And see how those insights might, help you find purpose in your own life.
Yeah, there are some genuinely eye-opening moments in this.
There really are. Frankl, he was a psychiatrist in Vienna even before the war, had these theories developing.
Right.
But then unimaginable circumstances just profoundly shaped them. This isn't just history, though. It's really a guide to human resilience.
It really is. It poses that fundamental question, doesn't it? How can you possibly find meaning when literally everything is taken from you? Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with his experiences.
The crucible, as it were.
Right. So we have to begin with Frankl's time as a prisoner in Nazi concentration camps. Places like Auschwitz.
Unimaginable horror.
And his account, it's less about the day-to-day atrocities, though they're there, and more about the psychological journey, the coping mechanisms.
Yes, his observations as a psychiatrist within that environment are just stunning. He watched this process of dehumanization unfold.
How people were stripped of everything.
Everything. Identity, hope, basic dignity. The physical reality was constant pain, starvation, the ever-present threat of death. Just brutal.
Yet somehow, within all that darkness, he saw something else. Patterns of resilience.
Exactly. That's what's so incredible. He started noticing, well, what differentiated those who endured from those who didn't, mentally speaking?
And what was that difference? What did he pinpoint?
It often came down to having a reason to live.
A why.
A why. Like a goal. Or someone. Yes. Something to live for. Maybe finishing some work, or the thought of being reunited with a loved one. It wasn't just about being physically strong.
So it was internal.
Deeply internal. His core insight, really forged in that fire, was that your attitude towards the suffering was crucial.
Even when you couldn't change the circumstance itself.
Precisely. All external freedoms were gone, obviously.
Yeah.
But the inner freedom, the freedom to choose your response, your perspective that remained.
He has that incredible quote about it, doesn't he?
He does. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way.
Wow. Just let that sink in. Finding freedom in that kind of oppression.
It's profound.
And it makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How does that apply to our own lives, the challenges we face, even if they're nowhere near that scale?
Right. That power to choose our attitude, our focus. It's always there.
And that power, that choice, that's really what led him to develop his therapy further, isn't it? Logotherapy.
Yes, exactly. After he was liberated, he returned to his psychiatric work and really brought logotherapy, which he'd begun developing before the camps, into sharp focus, refined by everything he'd witnessed and experienced.
So what is logotherapy fundamentally?
But at its heart, it's a therapy centered on meaning, the search for meaning.
Okay.
Frankl believed, quite radically at the time, that our primary drive isn't seeking pleasure, like Freud thought, or power, like Adler suggested.
It's meaning.
It's the will-defined meaning. That's the core human motivation, he argued.
And crucially, even suffering can have meaning.
Yes, even unavoidable suffering. If, and this is the key, if we approach it with the right attitude, we can find meaning in it.
Okay, so if that's the core drive, what are the main pillars of logotherapy, the big ideas?
Well, it really rests on three fundamental points. First, life has meaning. Always. Under absolutely all circumstances, no matter how bleak.
Even the absolute worst.
Even then. Second,
Yeah.
our deepest motivation is this will to find meaning. That's what pushes us forward.
Oh.
And third, no matter what's happening externally, we always have the freedom to choose our attitude, our response.
That freedom again.
Always back to that inner freedom. It really makes you, the listener, pause and think, what's my why? What gives my life meaning?
Yeah.
Frankl often quoted Nietzsche here, he who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow.
That quote just hits hard, doesn't it?
It really captures it. If you have that purpose, you can endure incredible hardship.
So, okay, if we need that why, how do we actually find it? Especially when things are tough. Frankl gives some pointers, right?
He does. He outlines three main pathways to discovering meaning in life.
What are they?
The first is by by doing something, creating a work, doing a deed. This could be your job, a passion project, achieving something significant, making a contribution.
Okay, action. Makes sense. What's the second?
The second is by experiencing something or encountering someone. This is about love,
Yeah.
beauty, like appreciating art or nature or even, intellectual discovery, connecting with something outside yourself.
Connection and experience. Got it. And the third?
The third path, and maybe the most difficult to grasp sometimes, is finding meaning through the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering.
Back to attitude again.
Always. It's central.
You mentioned love under that experiencing path. How important was that for Frankl personally, thinking about his wife, for instance?
Oh, immensely important. It was a lifeline for him in the camps. He writes so movingly about how holding the image of his wife in his mind, imagining conversations with her, gave him incredible strength.
A reason to endure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He truly came to believe that love is the ultimate, the highest goal we can aspire to. He said, "The salvation of man is through love and in love." For him, it was a lived reality that kept him going.
That's incredibly powerful. Now, that third path, meaning through suffering, people sometimes misunderstand this, right? Like, he's saying we should suffer.
That's a really important clarification, yes. Frankl is absolutely not saying suffering is necessary for meaning. We shouldn't seek it out. But if suffering is unavoidable, if it's part of life's reality, like a serious illness or loss or the conditions he faced, then we have the choice.
The choice of how to respond.
Exactly. We can find meaning in how we face it, how we bear that burden with dignity. It's about transforming a tragedy into a personal triumph internally.
It's about changing yourself when you can't change the situation.
Precisely. He put it perfectly. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves.
And he also said something about suffering ceasing to be suffering.
Yes. In some ways, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. That act of finding meaning actually changes the nature of the experience itself.
So thinking about all this, his experiences, logotherapy, these paths to meaning, what does this suggest for, for your own approach when life throws challenges your way?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway from Man's Search for Meaning is just how universal it is. It starts as this harrowing Holocaust memoir, but it becomes this timeless guide.
For finding purpose anywhere.
Anywhere, anytime. It's this deep reassurance that meaning is always possible, always available to be found, and that we have this inner resilience, this strength to endure almost anything.
If we connect with that meaning.
If we connect with that why.
So as you've been listening, think about what really stood out to you from this deep dive. Frankl's work gives us such a unique look at psychology under pressure. It helps us build our own resilience, and it guides us toward finding meaning, not just when things are good, but crucially when we face suffering too.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. If life never stops having meaning, what's maybe the smallest, most immediate way you could find or create a little bit of meaning in your day-to-day, right now, regardless of what's going on around you?
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.